That's really obnoxious. Happy 50th day of school. We have survived. And are you ready for all the things we did today on the 50th day? And let's hit it. One more time. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. My name is Charlie. I'm a kindergarten teacher here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Today was the 50th day of school. We also have something so crazy happening in our district right now. It was hacked. They have not figured out who it is. And so they were supposed to pay a ransom. They asked our district to pay a ransom, and they had until yesterday to do it, and they didn't. So we all got here today, and there's like absolutely no internet. We can't access any website that's associated with our school district. It's wild. Luckily though, I have backup stuff saved on my desktop, and I also have my own personal hotspot through my phone, so I was able to still access the internet and have a pretty normal day today. And luckily I had planned so many fun 50th day stuff, so it worked out really well. So let me take you through the different things that we did today. One thing that I had got asked in one of my last videos is how I justify some of the things that we do here in the classroom that are more fun, and I always put an academic spin on everything. I just really try to make learning fun and engaging and bring a real life connection that they could kind of just build with, add more schema to, and then kind of add more rigor and enhance the learning in that kind of way. So all the activities we do either reinforce things we've already learned, or they'll kind of be an introductory piece to things that I want to challenge them with, but it's always revolved around some type of learning. So this morning with our ELA, we've gotten through all our letters now, so we just kind of needed a fun activity to review all our letters. So here's what I came up with. So for this letter activity, there are a number of different ways that you could do it. You could do it more of a write the room, where they go around the room and kind of have to trace it, or I had kind of taken one of the Kagan strategies. So for starters, all of the kids brought their whiteboard, they had their paper, and then they had their pencil that they brought with them. We all started by writing our name at the top. And so of course you could, like I said, you could choose to use it as a write the room and put these all over your classroom. I thought it'd be more fun to get the kids all engaged in it together. So I gave each student that I had a letter, and I played a song, and the students had to walk around the room with their letter and their whiteboard, and when they met another friend, they had to tell their friend the letter and the sound that it makes, and then that friend was able to repeat it, and then they could trace whatever letter it was. So for example, if I met a friend, I would tell them, this is B. B says blah. And then this other student would repeat and trace the B. Now, I only have 19 kids, so of course I had more letters than I did students. So what I did was kind of, while I explicitly gave the directions, I modeled it for them, and so they were able to kind of trace the letters as I modeled what I wanted it to look like from them and all of their friends. So then when we wrapped it up at the end, they all shared with the whole class what letter they had, and just in case any of the kids missed it, they each came up to the board, they would state, this is letter U, U says and then the rest of the kids on the carpet would trace it. So then at the end, after all the students went, I had the last couple letters, and then we reviewed it one more time, the ones that I had to, that we hadn't done yet. So that was super fun. They loved it. They love anything where they get to go around the room and talk about with their friends, and just with the internet crazy today, it was the perfect thing to just get everybody up and moving. What I created for writing today, I'm gonna be honest that it was one of those things I created and I didn't know how it would be when I created it, but then it ended up turning out better than my expectations. So I wanted something with a jukebox, just because the 50s, I'm Grease obsessed. I've been since I was young, which is probably bad. I probably shouldn't have been watching that, but I did, and whatever. Anyways, so I made a little jukebox, and this one they colored so cute. On the inside of the jukebox, they had to tell me what they would want 50 of. So my class, we're still working on, we just finished our letters and started to blend, so I wanted them to practice sounding out and putting it together. So they had a sentence frame that we used, I want 50. You could see that the student did really well. Not only is she a great artist, but she's definitely one of my higher kiddos. So she said, I want 50 blankies and drew a cute little picture that matches it. So it looked adorable, and that was like our writing for today. And of course, this was like one of those things where I knew some of them would finish really fast, or not fast, but just like at a regular pace. And then I knew that other students would kind of have a harder time, or I would have to go around and help them start blending those sounds and being able to segment them and then write them. So I had also created these cute little coloring sheets, so they were able to pick which one that they wanted to do if they had finished their jukebox. And any of the kiddos that like didn't get a lot of time to color, of course they were able to like take it home, so they had such a good time with it. I really like in between our more rigorous learning activities to give them something where they could kind of like relax, let out their creativity, and just kind of decompress before we dive into something else rigorous. So math today, we had a lot of fun in math today. So in math right now, we've been working with numbers 6 through 10. We follow Envision, so our unit 3 Envisions was reading, writing, and making numbers 6 through 10, being able to count them, all the things. And then our newer unit is now comparing all those numbers. So all of our math today revolved around both of those two units to still like reinforce numbers 6 through 10 and the counting aspect, but then also comparing it. So we started off by making a root beer float craft. I'd had something like with one of my students happen during the day, so this activity was a really good one that I could kind of just model for them and then let them loose. So that's exactly what I did. I had completely modeled my whole version. Each student had gotten a root beer float, and at the table, each student that sat at the table had gotten a different amount of cherries, so either 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. And then they had to glue their root beer float to this paper that had on the sentence frame, I have blank cherries. So after they cut out all their pieces and put it together, they had to count up how many cherries they had and place it in their root beer float. And then we did like a round robin at their table, to where then, since each of them had a different number, they each shared how many cherries were on their root beer float. So it was a great way to reinforce those numbers before we had gotten into comparing the numbers. This was something really quick we did just to compare numbers. So each of the students were given one of these, and in the box it had, of course, an amount of objects that was less than, and then an amount of objects that was greater. So what the students had to do was count up how many was across and then write the number, count up how many, write the number, and then they would have to circle the group that was greater and then put an X on the group that was fewer. I know a lot of the times they have a hard time with that vocabulary of fewer, so that's been something I've been really trying to emphasize, is like greater and fewer. And then on the back, they were able to kind of once again reinforce that like counting how many. We've been working on that count and slash strategy, so I expected all of them to go through and count and slash and then write the numbers. So then after they finished, this was like their independent piece, and then they were able to bring it to me and I checked them all before they were able to take it home. Okay, but are you ready for the fun part? So in honor of everything 50s, of course I had to introduce them to a root beer floats. You would not believe how I only had one of them that had ever tried a root beer float before. Like, what is the world coming to? But anyways, of course we had to make it academic though, so I try to do those graphs every week. So today's graph was, do you like root beer floats? So here was our anchor chart, do you like root beer floats? All of our yeses went on this side and our no's went on that side. The kids got to come up one at a time. We've actually also been talking about complete sentences and what they sound like, so they had to use a complete sentence to tell us, yes, I like root beer floats, or no, I don't like them. And then as they would explain to the class their complete sentence, they would either, as a whole then, if they said, yes, I like root beer floats, then as a whole we would all go ahead and shade the next box. At the end, we talked about how many yeses we had, how many no's we had, we tallied them, and then we also brought in that more and fewer again of the comparing the numbers. So one of the questions, for example, was, are there more or less yes boxes shaded? So we had more yes boxes that were shaded, so the kids wrote more, and then I kind of showed them how to find it in their sentence and question. And then the other question was, is there a greater or fewer amount of no boxes shaded? So then we would record that as well. So it brought in all of the learning all together. The graphs are something I like to do every week if I can, at least every other week, just because this measurement and data is always the hardest thing for my groups every year. So, and I think it's honestly because it's technically our last Envision unit. So I think this is like a great way throughout the year that I could still expose them to what graphs look like, all of the vocabulary, and then throughout the year we do these ones, but then I add different ones along the way to expose them to all different types of graphs. So there you go. That was our 50th day. This was honestly the first time I've ever done the 50th day of school. I typically only do the 100th day. So this was kind of like my starter. I already have like tons of ideas for next year that I want to do. Like I want to definitely do like a photo backdrop to like take their picture and things like that. So if you have any awesome ideas for the 50th day that you did not see and you would think be great additions or things you would like to see me create, please drop them in the comments. But until next time, Yags is out. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at Hero on Heels.